every day, everywhere, across New Zealand.
From the smallest town
to the biggest city.
We have the finest tools.
And expert advice.
For any job.
For any person.
Who are we?
Who are we?
Who are we?
We are Nelson, Hamilton, Pukekohe, Rangiora.
We are Tradezone.
We are Tradezone.
We are Tradezone.
Tradezone, proud to bring you Tradezone Addicted to Fishing.
I'm Nikki Sinden, and since I could hold a handline, I have been addicted to fishing. Whether it's straylining for snapper, jigging for kingfish, dropping deep for harpooker, or jumping in and going spearfishing, I love it all. Join me each week as I road trip around the country, travelling to both New Zealand's most iconic fishing destinations and stepping off the beaten track to show just how good Kiwi fishing really is. Whether it's a girls' trip, fishing with a local, or riding solo, I am on a constant quest to satisfy my insatiable fishing addiction. Welcome to Tradezone Addicted to Fishing. We're hitting the water to head out to the Hen and Chicks to do some spearfishing with bona fide legend Wayne Piggott.
I've been spearfishing since I was probably maybe 10. Carried on, I used to do a bit and did a bit of scuba when I was young. Learnt to breathe through the regulator in the bath. I preferred the spearfishing because it's a lot more simple, and carried on now, and yeah, been doing it for I don't know, probably another over 30 years now. So probably one of the best experiences I had was when I got back diving after I got hurt. We're out diving and, managed to shoot my first 20-pound snapper after I'd had my leg taken off. So that was sort of pretty cool. I'd worked in the bush all my life, so I always knew what the risks were, but it's the same old thing, you never think it's going to happen to you, but it does. Broke lots of bones and punctured my lung and ribs and all sorts of bits, and of course ended up with a buggered leg, which I made the decision to have cut off about 12 months after, just because from a practical point of view it was just useless. It was no good. I spent 5 months in hospital. One of my biggest goals was to get back out there and do the stuff I used to do. Well, I just had a phone call from Nikki, seeing if I was keen to come out for a day spearfishing with them, which was great. So yeah, we come up with a plan to go out from the Hen and Chicks and dive at pinnacles for some kingfish and have a look for a snapper. And I've dived there quite a bit over the years. The Hen and Chicks is like anywhere, there's dead areas and there's good areas, so yeah, we'll go and check out a few of those spots, and hopefully one or two of them will have some fish on them. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
I am blown away at your incredible journey and the fact that you're still out there getting in the water. There's people that don't, and I kind of lost for words, if I'm honest. I think it's amazing what you're doing.
It's all I really know is like hunting or diving or spearfishing.
Because you've always been doing it, right?
That's what I've always done since I was a kid, so they were my two main motivations to when I was in hospital.
And your son?
Yeah, and I wasn't going to sit there, as long as I was alive, I wasn't going to sit there and let somebody else teach him how to do that stuff. Yeah. So one leg or no legs, it was always going to happen. So I don't, there's no real excuse for it. So
literally take my hat off to you, that is amazing.
Oh yeah, just get on with life, don't you, really? Yeah. I mean, what else can you do? So
well,
yeah, but there've been a few good people along the way that have helped a lot, and you spend a long time in hospital and a long time on painkillers and stuff like that, and yeah, there were certainly some very dark days, and not just days, I mean months. But then once I started getting back out diving and stuff like that again, your reliance on a lot of medication basically went to nothing, and a lot better for it.
That's amazing. So it really helps with the mental health aspect?
By a long, yeah. If I didn't have the hobbies I've got, I'd hate to think where I would be now, So.
I would love to just scoop up everyone in New Zealand who isn't feeling well and just throw them in the water and take them spearfishing, because being underneath that beautiful, beautiful environment, like, it really does wonders for the soul.
Oh, well, just even being able to go out and provide fish in that, not only for yourself but your family in that again, it's sort of, that's probably one of the, you're not just a spectator, you know, so, yeah, no, that, and, you know, it's like anything, the more you do of it, the better it becomes, you know, like,
Totally.
yeah.
Well, the goal for today is, if we can find a kingy, I would love to take one home. I've got a friend's wedding this weekend, and I did say that if we did come across one, we might be able to provide one for the wedding, one or two, and maybe just see what other variety we can get.
Yeah, no, well.
So I might leave you with my cameraman. You two can go on a bit of a mission. Coming up after the break, Wayne gets the job done on a nice fat kingfish. This week, we're spearfishing at the Hen and Chicks with one-legged legend, Wayne Piggott.
I've always found a lot of the better spearfishermen are hunters. You've sort of got to understand what it is you're trying to hunt. You know, if you know the habits and areas, it makes it easier. So I just see it as another form of hunting. It's just the same thing. Fish will be there on certain tides, they'll be there on certain winds, and you just take that mindset towards it, and yeah, you'll sooner or later you'll be successful with it.
After Wayne suits up and hits the water, he starts in the shallows searching for snapper, using the kelp and the reef edges as cover, which is a great technique to hunt these cagey fish. Demoiselles and blue mau mau can be a great indicator that snapper are in the area. Treat every ledge like there is a big snapper behind it, no matter how shallow it is. Just like this fish, which Wayne shot in just 3 metres of water.
For shooting snapper, a lot of it depends on the day. And generally speaking, your first couple of fish you see for the day will sort of indicate how to approach them, really. Some days they can be dumb, and they will literally just sit there in the current, and you can come down off to the side and shoot them without too much trouble. Other days they're super cagey, even the small fish. So probably snapper is use as much cover as you can, really. It can be hard. Some days it means diving in less than ideal conditions. It might be the swell and chop and all the rest of it, but if it gives you that upper hand to hunt that fish, well then you should be on the winning team, really. I've lost count of how many big snapper I've shot in probably 3-4 metres of water. Lots, a lot more than I would have shot in 10 plus metres, without a doubt. I learned to dive again probably just by being stubborn. I had a custom fin made because a single fin was useless. I was almost at the point of giving up. I was like, this is just a waste of time. And then it got easier and easier, and to the point now I don't even think about it. I don't sit there and think, oh, I can't swim over there, or I can't do this because I've only got one fin. You know, if anything, I probably shoot more fish now as I'm slower. So, yeah, no, it just is what it is.
Moving out into deeper water in search of a kingfish, a school of kahawai and trevally swim past, making a great target for some sashimi. Wayne picks up one of the bigger trevally and quickly dispatches it. Another great fish for the bin. Wayne has come across an area that is showing all the right signs of a decent kingfish or two showing up. There's baitfish, smaller kingfish cruising around, current, and even a nosy bronze whaler. All the signs. So doing alternating dives with your buddy can attract larger fish into the area, and Wayne gets a nice holding shot into this fish. Playing the fish with caution, Wayne puts enough pressure on it to keep it out of the reef, but not so much that the shaft will tear out. Pound for pound, kingfish are one of the strongest fighting fish in the ocean, and prize fish for many spearfishermen. Once the kingfish is tamed, a sharp knife in the brain will dispatch it, ready for the chili bin. Not a bad fish. Whew!
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll eat tonight.
We will.
That's the main thing.
That's wicked. Solid as, eh? Did you see a few down there? Or?
We saw 2 smaller ones in this one, but yeah, the other 2 were too small, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, this one made the mistake of coming a bit close. So.
Legend mistake.
Yeah.
What do you reckon size-wise he'd be?
Yeah. Might get up close to 20 kilo, maybe.
Yeah, he's solid as.
Yeah.
Wicked.
So?
Oh, well, that's job done. Tick that one off. And the rain is cleared.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
a
wicked.
nice day.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day now. Wish some of that rain would head on over to my house near my water tank. So what I thought we might do next is try a luck at some diving for crays.
Good idea.
Beautiful
Good
fish.
idea.
Tackle tips and tactics, brought to you by Smart Marine. All right, so let's talk about the Pure Wax Waterless Detailer. This stuff is absolutely wicked. We actually went through a drought earlier this year and we washed our whole boat with this stuff, so we didn't even have to use any water. It's a one-step application and we use 2 microfiber cloths. And this stuff smells like, I know it says apples, but it actually smells like lollies. I love it. All we do is we spray it on liberally and we use our first cloth. We're just gonna go in a circular motion, and then we're going to get our second cloth, which is a dry cloth, and we are going to do it from side to side to make sure that we don't get any of the grime on our beautiful clean window, and it works an absolute treat. Wish I'd learnt this 7 years ago. Phew! Beautiful. For all your fishing needs, head on down to your local Smart Marine store. After the break, we get into some crayfish grabbing before I share my popcorn crayfish recipe. This week, we've been spearfishing the Hen and Chicks, featuring legendary hunter and fisherman Wayne Piggott.
I think with spearfishing, holding your breath is overrated, to be quite honest. If a lot of people spent more time learning to hunt a fish, they'd be more successful at it. Most of the big fish that we would shoot are under probably 10 metres. You don't need a massive breath hold to be diving that depth. At the end of the day, you're hunting, so the breath hold thing is, yeah, it helps, and there's no question about that, but I'd rather dive all day at a comfortable depth, and, you know, at the end of the day, you generally come home with more for it.
We've come around to a nice sheltered bay, and my cameraman Red is going to jump in and try his luck for a few crayfish. When searching for crays, boulders, cracks, crevices are really what you're looking for. Once you see their antennas poking out, you know that you're in the right spot. Red spots a legal female and grabs her by the horns. When diving, you're required to measure your catch as soon as possible. The daily bag limit is 6 per person in most areas, but new rules and regulations have come into play, so make sure that you check your local limits before you head out next time. Red has struck it lucky and found an abundance of crayfish, which means he can pick and choose the ones to come home for dinner. Only taking the crays that are in their holes means that the nest will not be disturbed and there is a better chance of the crays sticking around in this area. During the winter months in the North Island, spiny rock lobster, more commonly known as red crayfish, move into the shallow water to shed their shells and prepare to have eggs or berry. If you're diving during this time, take more care when grabbing crays, because we don't want to disturb the females that are in berry and releasing any crayfish that are soft like this one. Back it goes to get stronger for next time. And it goes without saying, if you find any rubbish in the ocean, clean it up. We have to look after this place because the fish can't. So here we have a delicious, tasty recipe that can make your crayfish go that little bit further. And I'm also going to share with you one of my favourite recipes for a homemade sauce, which is kind of like a mix between tartare and Big Mac sauce. It's delicious. We've got the crayfish tails here. So we're not going to go ahead and boil the crayfish like a lot of recipes tell you to. What we're going to do is we're just going to run it under a little bit of hot water just to heat it up a little bit so that the meat comes away from the shell. So what we're looking for is for the colour to start to change in the meat. And then we're just going to get our snips. So there we have it, beautiful meat. So next we want to pat it nice and dry. We don't want any moisture in our beautiful crayfish. We want to cut it into nice bite-sized little morsels. So using a nice sharp knife, cut it in half and then cut it down again. And we want to get it to the point where it's got little sort of chunks. Oh, this is going to be so good. So next we're going to make our batter. So what we've got here is we've got 2/3 of a cup of tapioca flour, which I've sifted together with 2 times 2/3 of a cup of corn flour. And we've sifted that together. Now in this little bowl here, I've got a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and we've got some fresh ground pepper. So I'm going to pop that in there, mix it up. Then we're going to add just over a cup of soda water. So you need to put in 330 mils, which is just over a cup. So we'll put this in and then I'll just go like that. And we're going to whisk it together to create a beautiful smooth batter. So next what we're going to do is we're going to dredge our crayfish into some flour before it goes into the batter. I'm just going to pick a whole heap of pieces and just coat them. Put a few pieces in at once, and then we're going to transfer it into the vegetable oil. Now you can use any kind of oil that you like. We're just using straight up vegetable oil, and we just don't want to overcrowd the pan too much. You'll notice that straight away it puffs up. Yum. Even sounds like popcorn. Yum-o. Really easy to overcook crayfish. While that's cooling down, we're just going to whip together our sauce. The tartare collides with Big Mac sauce is super easy. We're going to start with the goat of mayonnaise. Best foods, my favourite. Nice generous amount. Then we're going to add some raw white onion. Just add however much sort of floats your boat. And then we're going to add some fresh gherkin, chopped up nice and fine. Then we're going to add some lime. And of course some salt and pepper. Then a dash of paprika. Mix it up, and there you have it. I don't really have a name for this sauce. All I know is that it's absolutely delicious. Now, none of this crayfish has gone to waste. We've also boiled the legs just for a couple of minutes, which will be a delicious snack for later. And it also helps with our presentation of our popcorn crayfish. Let's plate it up. And I'm about to devour this whole plate on my own. So, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Wayne for coming out on this episode. And thank you to my cameraman Red for grabbing the crays. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys again next week on Tradezone, Addicted to Fishing. That is mean. Like legit.
Gear, Care and Catch, brought to you by Tradezone.
Here we are at Tradezone on the North Shore. Let's go in and see the team. Ken, how's it going?
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Why aren't you out fishing on a day like this, mate?
Good question. I'm actually in here because I've got some maintenance to do on the boat.
All right.
Yeah.
How can we help?
Well, I've got these bolts and they're really small and I need to measure them. So I don't know if I need a tape measure or...
Okay, I don't think a tape measure. We're going to look at a digital caliper.
Okay.
We have one of New Zealand's leading brands, which is Meditoyo. So we have the 8-inch caliper here.
Yep.
It's fully digital, which makes it pretty easy to read. You don't have to look at any dials or anything like that.
Yep.
Very, very accurate sort of gauge. I'll grab a bolt. So you start at 0, and we can measure the head.
Oh, easy.
You need an 18mm spanner, so you don't have to go fumbling around for your tools. It's got a 12mm shaft on it. As you can see, it's very easy to read.
Yeah, very accurate.
And then if we want to measure the length, we can measure out the length, and it's 90mm. It takes away so much guesswork. It's so good.
That's fantastic. I think that's what I need. I'll take one of those, please.
Cool as, let's go.
For all your engineering needs, head in store or order online at www.tradezone.co.nz. Check out our YouTube page for tips, tricks, and entire episodes of every season. And like us on Facebook to keep up to date with competitions and all your fishing news. Tradezone Addicted to Fishing is proud to be with Extreme Boats, powered by Honda Marine. We tow it around in our custom-built G-Fab trailer on the back of our Mercedes-Benz V6. When we're not out on the water, it's all stored away in our BuildLink kit set shed. Smart Marine supply us with our Shimano tackle, and we find the best fishing spots with our Ray Marine. We finish the job thanks to Trail Trades, and move in precision thanks to Seastar. We maintain our gear using Ting tools, and we keep up to date thanks to New Zealand Fishing News magazine, and it all keeps performing thanks to Tradezone.